Hey guys, so for my informative speech, I decided to talk about how women's rights and equality really has made just jumps and leaps from where it used to be, and really just within the last century, we've seen a lot of growth that I think a lot of people can just put to shame because they want to see more and more. But my aunt, her name is Callie, she is the president of business for T-Mobile, and I show you that picture because she is someone that has seen opportunities and just awesome things from the Lord because of the movements and the women that went before her and put in the work. And so that's just kind of what I want to talk about, is the trials and the triumphs that come from history that make women and their rights and their education where it is today, and just even ability to vote. And so I want to start by just giving you a little background into kind of the last century, like I talked about, what women's rights has gone through so far. And so the evolution of women's rights by Dr. Hyatt breaks it up into waves. And so the first wave was back in 1920, and as most of us who've taken history know, that's when the 19th Amendment was first passed, and that allowed for women to just first be able to vote in the United States. And that's so just incredible, and it's even crazy to me now that I can vote, to think about that, like at one point women didn't get to go up and vote and have a say. And so that happened as the first wave. And then the second wave was more about workplace rights and just women equality overall, and that was about from 1916 to 1980. And so that was also really important because women were ready to get out of the house and just have some opportunities besides what they had been maybe socially normal knowing to do. And then the third wave, and it's the 2000s now, and kind of what we're still living in, and really my generation, I feel like, has been a big part of this, is more about body positivity for women, and how makeup isn't something that you have to wear, and how it's encouraged to get out of the house and take care of you, and self-care. And we're doing that for men and women, but I definitely think that I've seen that a lot. And so I think all of those things have played a big role. I mean, obviously, they've played a big role in just promoting women equality and women rights. The second thing that I want to talk about that has gotten to us to where we are and gotten Callie, my aunt, to where she is social movements. Women's Rights, a Historical Perspective by, Skull Paul Kari, lists a number of movements that have just happened in the last century, mainly between the 1920s and 2000s, that have really played into all of this. But the first one is just that in 1975, we had the first World Conference of Women, which is so crazy to think about because I know women going to women's conferences all the time nowadays. And then also the Women's World Bank was created not long after that. But really a movement that I want to touch on for a little bit longer is the 1993 World Conference of Human Rights in Venetia. And I might butcher this name, but Flora Lovinua wrote a book called Women's Human Rights, and basically it describes the campaign, and the name of the campaign was Women's Rights Are Human Rights. And I think the perspective that they were trying to draw from this was just that women are human and men are human. And it even talks in it about the men having men's rights are human rights too. And so I really appreciate that, because I think sometimes we can get too focused on just that the women need rights. But I grew up and truly believe that also fighting for men's rights are important too. And so this social movement made a big leap and bound for women's rights, to where people started to realize, hey, women and men are equal. And so that equality really made a big change in that time. And so as my last point, I just wanted to talk about how advancements have been made because people have stood up for what they believe in. And I think that's really the biggest point that I have to make today, is just like, when we want to see change, we have to hold our head high, and we have to speak up, even if it's a little bit different. And Christianity is really like that. And we as Christians in the United States may not see that as much, but there's people all around the world that are fighting for that freedom. And so I think that there's women that really did that back in the day to fight for the freedom of their equality. And so Eleanor Bockett wrote a book called published an article called Women's Rights Movement. And it talks a lot about Betty Friedanus, who publicated the book Feministische Musik. And I just really wanted to read this quote from this book that she wrote, because I think that it really puts into perspective the change that has happened that we sometimes forget about. And she says, lost my page. Women had been told they had it all: nice houses, lovely children, responsible husbands. They were deadened by domesticity. And she said they were too socially conditioned to recognize their own desperation. And that just seems kind of harsh, but I think it was real. I think women didn't realize that they had opportunity to get out of the house and do what they loved, and help the family in other ways than just cleaning and being a mom and stuff. And I still think those things are all well and great, but it does put a perspective on the fact that we have made large bounds because of people that have stood up, and because of people that made movements. And so yeah, that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about. And I've seen it in my own life take place, just women and opportunities, and it's just super cool, and that's the positive side of it. So thank you so much.